A court decision on a declaratory judgment filed by one of the members of Parliament, Honourable Tungia Sioneholo, against the Speaker of the House, Honourable Auhiba Levy, and Honourable Premier Toke Talangi, over the swearing-in process of the Oath of Allegiance and the requirements set by the Constitution for the new elected MP for Toi, Honourable Dion Taufitu, has been reached by the Niue High Court. The debate on the legality of the decision to swear in Honourable Taufitu in Auckland brought questions and different interpretations of the Constitution by both the applicant and the respondent. However, Judge Isaac, in his decision, declared the process in Auckland, which it was employed, not in line with the contents in the Constitution, in which he made a decision to declare the elected seat of Toi Village vacant. Speaker of the House, Honourable Auhiba Levy, said today he has no comment because the decision has been ruled by the courts and the motion has been mobilised. This afternoon, Chief Electoral Officer Justin Kamupala announced the Toi by-election is to take place on the 31st of March 2012. Nominations of candidates is also open for the village constituency seat of Toi, with all nominations to close on the 16th of March. As well as the announcement of the by-election, the department advised the residents of Toi Village of the eligibility to vote and to remind of the procedures of voting that can confirm with the Department of Justice. The electoral roll for the Toi constituency by-election will be closed on the 12th of March 2012. Yesterday, the Environment Department called on the public to encourage support for the asbestos project that has been agreed by Cabinet to bury on the island. However, the majority of those that attended strongly opposed the burial of the toxic material on the island, citing concerns of the water lens, landowners' apprehension so close to some residential areas in which most who voiced their views believe New Zealand should take back the toxic material. Director of Environment Department Sauni Tongatole said the only option Niue has at present is for the burial of the asbestos because of different constraints of other options. Another immediate concern is the asbestos still on some of the houses around the island. We caught up with Mr. Tongatole during yesterday's awareness campaign on his thoughts of the objections from those who were at the meeting and other considerations of government to some of the recommendations from the meeting.
I think it's normal in any consultation regarding some sensitive issue like asbestos here. I think people have their own perception of things. Although we have opted to do a presentation and presented them with facts regarding the nature of asbestos, the safety concern about asbestos, and our option of disposal for asbestos. And people have expressed certain views. Some are more radical, some are more supportive of the fact that this is the only option that we have at the moment, and why do something? But I think there's a few concerns in relation to the approach to it, particularly the sites and the ownership of the land, but that has yet to be decided based on the discussion today. There's a lot of issues surrounding one option that they need to take it to New Zealand. We have gone down that road before. It has taken us almost 10 years, and we have done absolutely nothing. But I think it's time now that we digest the facts about asbestos, some concern relating to the waterlands that is presented to them regarding how asbestos was used widely in drainage of water, providing water. But I think we also presented our option in terms of burial, the design of the landfill. Compared to New Zealand, they don't have lining in their landfill, but we are proposing to put lining. We're also proposing to actually double wrap asbestos sheet before you actually put them in the bunker. We're still working out on the detail based on the discussion today. So it may be both the plastic and the concrete bunker, but that has yet to be discussed by the task group after today's session. But we'll see it from here. It's taken the department and the working group 10 years to look at the free option. And I think that's time that I think we could have used wisely. Because I think the problem that we have right now is actually the asbestos out in the villages. And this is the first phase that we are proposing to do, to actually get rid of the ones at Hui Hui and start moving into the villages. But if we delay this process, then the risk will be greater in the villages. And we also are fortunate for NZ8 for providing the funding for us to do this. It's an excellent opportunity for us to do something. We have solicited the expert advice on this, not only from New Zealand but throughout the region and spread. And we were more or less left with one option, was really to bury it. It can be done successfully. We have taken some precautions really to minimize the safety of asbestos when buried. But I think there's still some details after today's meeting that we actually need to look at.
Now, there's also calls for the removal from the roofs first, rather than the riddance of the asbestos already stored at Hui Hui. Is the department going to take that option on board, seeing there might be a little bit of a delay looking at the landowners' issues that have questioned where you're going to bury the asbestos?
The funds that was provided by NZ8 is really for that phase, to address the Hui Hui problem, because that was also a concern from the Hui Hui resident that we need to move on that. So we have taken that approach, and funding has been made available by NZ8. Now to really go back and ask them to redirect funding to so we can address the other side village, that will probably take us some time and would probably escalate the problem of having those roofs removed quite quickly.
Now, one of the issues that came up is the fact that New Zealand does not want to take the asbestos back. And there are a lot of participants today that asked if the government has the option to return back to the table for negotiations, including the Waitangi Convention. Will that be an option for government after the discussions?
Well, that option has taken us 10 years and result in nothing. If we're going to take another that option again, it might take the same, and that doesn't help us at all. Because our concerns is really the ones at the villages now that needs to be removed.
In actual fact, we've decided to bury it here.
Well, that's the option that is with government right now. The only option left for us. It's not an option that government is favorable to it, but I think it's the option that's the only option that's been left on the table at the moment.
Two experts from New Zealand also arrived to clarify the process that is proposed to employ the riddance of asbestos, but it seems the objection of the proposal to bury on the island still took precedence. Director Tongatole said the purpose of yesterday's meeting is to make the public aware of the safety and secure procedures that the department will take to bury the toxic material. Employing teachers for special needs in the education sector is an ongoing issue for the Education Department, with the process becoming a rather complex situation. A collaborative approach and processes now in place involving the Niue Public Service Commission has given the Education Department and the Health Department a month to source an expert in the area of special needs to do an overall assessment to ensure that students with special needs rights to an education are addressed.
Every child has a right to an education, but it's also at this point the Commission need to make evidence-based decisions, and at this point there are no reports, or there is nothing there for the Commission to base or to give us further insight into the special needs conditions at the two schools. We need to make informed decisions in the matter, and hence the decision to work with the Education Department and the Health Department to see if we can get the specialist in to do an assessment of the special needs situation of the two schools, and then we will progress from there to recruit the appropriate and qualified people to help with the special needs. But at the same time, obviously there will be some consideration as to the relevant policies that would guide the special needs education in Niue.
What is the Commission doing in terms to address concerns of teachers who feel that some of the roles or responsibilities that have been given to them are a bit out of their depth and their requirements as teachers?
Okay. Well, firstly, the Commission will be very concerned if we do have teachers at the moment who feel that they are being asked to perform over and above their qualifications. Hence the reason we are seeking an expert to assess the situation. At the moment, the two schools are dealing with the special needs students in an inclusive manner, and by that I mean the special needs students are progressing through the school system with their peers, with their age group, and at the moment we have in primary school one teacher that we've been informed of who is assisting with a special needs child. Now, if there are concerns from the teachers that this is impacting on their work environment and that they see this as extra responsibilities, then we will expect the Education Department to bring that to the Commission's attention. Obviously, as the employing authority, we want our employees to perform to the best of their capabilities, and if they are feeling somewhat inundated at the moment and that they believe they're not working according to the job descriptions, then we will have to look at that seriously.
Esther says it seems that in the past, reaction to public concerns for students with special needs was done on a more ad hoc basis. However, this latest approach may be a long-term solution. They have some alternatives in the interim for special needs students.
While the work is undergoing at the moment to engage that specialist, we've also asked and working with the Education Department to see if we can engage or seek the assistance of VSA New Zealand. This is Volunteer Services Abroad. If they do have within their database a qualified special needs teacher who would help us in the interim, in the short term, but of course even this process would take some time. So I cannot promise and give you a definitive time as to how soon this report will be done and the recruitment process begin. But it's suffice to say we are working with the Education Department and the Health Department to make sure that this is done in as soon as possible, with minimum disruption to the schools.
The hope is that the special needs of students in both schools will be addressed and students will get the quality education they are entitled to. Concerns of aid money filtering into a commercial New Zealand company, Air New Zealand, has been raised by a development studies professor. Professor John Overton from Victoria University said aid development could be better spent. He said he is uneasy New Zealand aid money has been used to subsidise and affect the commercial operations of a New Zealand company, in this case Air New Zealand, which would seem to be counter to any of the stated objectives of the New Zealand aid program, either now or especially in the past. Cook Islands spent half the $3 million aid it receives for tourism annually on an underwritten arrangement with Air New Zealand that began in 2010. A temporary underwritten arrangement between the Samoa and Tongan governments and Air New Zealand was cancelled after it was deemed to be no longer economical. $3.8 million aid was spent on that arrangement between 2009 and 2011. We have yet to receive information regarding newest subsidies. And to end our news bulletin for tonight, Pure Pacifica Limited owner Philip McNichol, who is also Reef Group Management, announced to nonu growers in Samoa the company was having difficulties with its investors, meaning nonu demand was to halt for the time being whilst problems are sorted and new investors sourced. Mr. McNichol said the customer Reef signed with in 2011 was in a bit of strife in Hong Kong. Regulatory investigation was commenced in Hong Kong against the promoters of the major Chinese customer. Prosecutions have been brought against Mr. Jack Chen and two of his colleagues, and investigations of transactions completely unrelated to the Samoan nonu industry are continuing. The reason that these unanticipated events are relevant is that the Hong Kong authorities have also taken the step of freezing assets and bank accounts of Mr. Chen, his colleagues and their associate entities whilst investigations continue. Irrespective of the eventual outcome of the Hong Kong proceedings, the immediate effect is that the Chinese customer is unable to progress its production program and product launch within the time frame predicted. This means that it is not presently in a position to take more juice, although assurances that it is working on solutions to its current situation. Last year, Mr. Chen was brought to Niue by Mr. McNichol as a major investor in the Reef venture. That included the expansion of the Waia farm to increase the farm's nonu production. We'll bring you more on this story in our future news bulletin. That's our news bulletin for this evening. Good night.